Good morning. Let me take this opportunity first to congratulate the IG for being faithful to the Inspector General's conference since this idea started some time back. And this conference comes hot on the heels of the conference we have just held, CS, with the regional commissioners and county commissioners to discuss about peace and security in this country. This team, just like the IG has said, is a team that is responsible for ensuring that this country remains safe, that people go about their business without having to worry about their security, and we participate in economic activities and personal activities in this country without stress. And I want to personally take this opportunity to congratulate and thank this team, because despite all the noises that we hear, we know that this country has remained safe. That is the truth for anyone who wants to see. CS, I actually nowadays wake up very early to go to work after passing through some exercise regime. And I meet a lot of children nowadays going to work, to school in the morning, women going to work in the morning alone, which is a very clear indication of people who feel secure. As we take a lot of these things for granted, and I know it is easy to assume that because we have not had anybody being killed by gangsters, we have not had terrorist attacks, we have not had petty crimes, they are controlled, we are not having a lot of accidents. It is very easy to assume that those things are just happening where there is no effort. CS, I personally want to thank this team and encourage them that this country belongs to all of us, and the work that they are continuing to do is work that we people take notice. I know we are heading towards, and the purpose of this conference, therefore, towards a season that requires very detailed attention. And I hope that as you proceed with your conference, IG, that some of these emerging security challenges that come with the season are challenges that you are going to deal with very firmly. We know the season of heckling, the season of incitement is just around the corner, and I hope it will form part of what you people will discuss. We are happy to have our chairman here of the commission because together with him, looking at your HR issues, and us in the headquarters looking at your accounting issues, we have continued to work together to ensure that your welfare is looked at. And again, those in the service who are true to themselves know that there has been drastic changes, CS, in the last 2 or so years to ensure that even the working environment for the police is conducive and friendly. And with those few remarks, it's now my pleasure to invite the CS.
First of all, it gives me great pleasure to be here because, as PS Kibicho said, IG, you have kept the tradition of ensuring that every year you hold this meeting, although this year it has some special significance because we are preparing ourselves for the general elections. We have met here today to review the state of security in the country and our readiness for the next general elections, because we begin now the countdown to preparing for the general elections. So first of all, I want to start by discharging my first duty and obligation, which is to convey to you and to bring to you regards and good wishes from His Excellency, our President and Commander-in-Chief of the Kenyan Defense Forces, Honorable Uhuru Kenyatta. His Excellency the President, in addition, asked me to say the following 2 points to you. One, that he is grateful for the work that you do. And because of the commitment and the level of professionalism that you have displayed recently, the confidence of the public has continued to grow in our police service. And indeed, as PS Kibicho pointed out, our country is safe and secure. And we are going about economic activities uninterrupted because of the work that you men and women in uniform do for our country. And on behalf of our grateful nation, His Excellency the President asked me to say thank you to you. Secondly, His Excellency the President asked me to say this to you, that of course he's looking forward to meeting with you during our joint security conference, which will happen later in the year, bringing us together with our colleagues in the National Government Administration. But he asked me to say thank you to you for a second reason. Since March last year, as a country, we confronted the challenge of COVID-19. We have put in place so many containment measures, and our security teams, especially you, the police officers, have been at the forefront working with our national government administration officials to enforce these containment measures. By and large, although we continue to suffer and we are not out of the woods yet, you have borne the brunt of working with our population to enforce the containment measures. And for this, we thank you for the sacrifices you have made and the commitment you have shown. And His Excellency, the President, asked me to register his personal gratitude to you for the manner in which you have helped enforce the containment measures. Now, having said that, let me go to my brief remarks before we start this meeting. Recently, we met the county and regional commissioners, who are critical role players in preparing ourselves for the elections. We pointed out a number of things that we need to do. We've done well, and shortly I am personally looking forward to the presentation of the report on the Police Performance Delivery Index, which I am happy about, because we decided that we are going to measure ourselves by surveying public opinion on the work that we do. And since 2009, when when the confidence of the public was at 29%, it has now grown, and we are soon going to see the report when it's presented to us, that shows that we have achieved about 63% level of confidence by the public. Whereas that is a remarkable improvement, I am interested in seeing an over 80% level of confidence as we go forward. And I hope, IG, as we spend our time here today, we are also going to very candidly look at what is it we need to do to deepen the confidence of the public in the work that we do. Because, my friends, we work for our people. And it doesn't matter how hard we work if we are not able to secure their trust and their confidence. We should ask the question, what is that we need to do to secure the confidence of our people? And there are a number of things we can do, some of which I will talk about briefly after these wonderful good people from the fourth estate are out. We must build the trust of our people in the police service and in the services that we give our people. And one more time again, in the next year's general elections, and as we prepare for this, we have been given an opportunity to work with our people to deepen their confidence in the work we do. So I'm going to propose several things to us as we work on this. Number one, I would like to ask you as senior police officers across the country to begin changing our approach to how we provide security to communities, with a view to deepening the trust of our people. And changing the approach means we need to work more with communities. Everywhere I've gone in this country, I've often challenged senior police officers. I ask them a question: do you know the Archbishop of the Catholic Church in the diocese of your jurisdiction? Do you know the local imam? Have you met the Anglican Church bishop of your area of jurisdiction? Have you met the chair of the Traders Association in your town as the county commander? Do you know the chairperson of the Hawkers Association? Do you have their number? Do you sometimes talk to them? We cannot wait for a crisis, and we should never be known as enforcers or force users. We should also be known as people who work with and in communities to foster peace, good relations, and that is how we are going to succeed to raise the level of confidence from 63% to 80% and to 90%. We must change the way we work. And then for us to keep the country stable and secure as we go through the electoral cycle, we have to do those things that will build and enhance relations with our people. We need to look at, number two, alternative ways of ensuring that we prepare for security beforehand. Sitting down with communities and community leaders and discussing security matters with them long before things happen is fundamental. For those of you whose jurisdictions cover urban areas, sitting together with neighborhood associations and leaderships of those neighborhood associations will enhance the confidence of our people, but also give you information you need beforehand to deal with providing security to our people. Number three, I think we need to manage our officers better. The challenge we have, and sometimes we shouldn't run away from things. When members of the public raise concerns with us, we should respond to them. You are officers here, and I have this opportunity that I want to tell you in public that where I think we have not done very well as senior officers is managing the troops, the people we have who have been entrusted to us. There are some police stations you'll go to if you are the county commander. In some places, I don't know, soon I'm going to ask the Inspector General of Police to start conducting that survey where he asks every one of their county commanders whether they have visited all their police stations in their jurisdiction and met the junior officers who work there with you, and sometimes taken time to know them and sit down with them. A lot of the officers we receive from training are young people who face challenges of one kind or the other. Recently, we have noticed some challenges that we are dealing with. My colleagues who are seated on this side of the room will bear me out, the DCI, the DIGs, and the Inspector General himself, about certain challenges related to drunkenness and poor behavior on some of our, our junior officers. I mean, why should I pretend here when you have been seeing clips doing rounds, of officers who have one or the other challenge? And this is related to personal challenges that we can resolve by knowing our officers. You should get into a Know Your Officers campaign where you know the officers who work under your command and interact with them at the personal level. Some of these young people need to be advised and need to be supported as we go along. Number four, I cannot overemphasize the issue of discipline, because this issue has affected us. And you know this, there are areas of our country where we have had certain challenges, discipline amongst officers. And you, our regional and county commanders and formation commanders, are the people we depend upon to ensure that you enforce discipline amongst our officers. When certain things happen, it's also fair to be truthful and sincere with our people. When certain things happen in certain jurisdictions, and then they're very embarrassing and frustrating to all of us. They're things that we do not want to see, but they happen, and then we have to face them. We have to be responsive to the public's concerns and so on. That's why I asked the Inspector General last week to send the Internal Affairs Unit team to a police station called Rioma in Kisii, where 2 people, were killed. I have seen a report from the Inspector General about what is going on there, and I want to commit to the public that we will act and take decisions in the direction that investigation is going to show us. If the officers who are involved in making mistakes, they will of course face the full force of the law, because we are here to ensure that we provide services to our people. And my colleagues, this is something we cannot gainsay. A time has come when we need to be a bit more strict in terms of how we coordinate and organize the officers that we have and ensure that they are completely disciplined in the discharge of their duties. The last 2 issues that I want to talk about are a bit worrisome to me. We had a very successful campaign 2 years ago against illicit brews. In some parts of the country, this is coming back. You know yourselves, you know your areas of jurisdiction, where again we have seen an increase and a new culture of consumption of illicit brews. I believe at the end of this conference, you will leave with the resolve and ask our senior officers when they go to the field to address this matter and sort it out effectively. Lastly, I thank you because the levels of petty crime have reduced significantly in many of our urban areas, as my colleague the PS pointed out. And this is because of the work that you do. The regional and county police commanders who are here, I want you to know we are very, very grateful. Some of your patrols, I mean, every day by 4 a.m. in the morning, we get reports from you, through the IG and what is going on. We are very grateful because of the level of care and alertness that you have maintained, so that those patrols have yielded the results that we desire, namely to ensure that we remove bad elements from our midst. But there are certain parts of the country where you see an emerging wave that we need to address immediately, whether it involves abductions or it involves these criminal business attitudes, because let's face it, some of our people also are irresponsible. We're having some predatory business habits where people get into informal but criminal business arrangements, and when they go south or when they don't go right, they now resort to murdering each other. We need to find a way of dealing with some of these groups. And as I said earlier, if we engaged the communities effectively all the time, we will know when this is happening. And we will be able to pick out some of these cartels before they start sorting each other out, and then in effect creating an impression in the country that we have a challenge which we don't. On the issue of these abductions, we have agreed with the Inspector General of Police and the DCI that we will not only step up, but we will deploy special and aggressive resources to deal with these issues. It's a very small matter. Already the DCI has made excellent successes in tracking down some of this, and I'm confident myself that whatever other groups that may be remaining, we will sort them out. My last point is the issue of hate speech as we prepare for elections. Fortunately, for us especially, many of you, our senior police officers, are people who have been here before. You have seen these things. You have dealt with some of these problems. And as I said, last week, we are better prepared now and better organized now than we were before. We are going to have our multi-agents team, the technical arm that is coordinated by our peers, begins the roadmap and the countdown from next week, which means we look at the map across the country, areas where we think there may be hotspots or where things may happen that we need to check so that we are totally prepared to deal with them. But I want to ask you, my brothers and sisters, you are Kenyans as much as we, your leaders, are, as much as those politicians are. Do not be intimidated, and let us not give in to anything that will hurt the stability and security of our country. This is our only home on earth. We have a duty to ensure that this country is stable, is secure, and Kenyans go about their activities. As you all know, this madness is not usually perpetuated by ordinary wananchi, because after all, right now they are going about their activities, they have no problem with anyone, they are in their marketplaces, they are doing their business, they are interacting among themselves without a problem. So why should they fight tomorrow and the day after? It's because some desperate politician is inciting them, or some people who have certain challenges and are greed about getting political power are inciting them and they want them to fight. We should never allow this to happen. And I ask you to be firm, be very decisive, and to ensure that the law is followed. We'll talk some more about this, and I'm sure that the Inspector General is also prepared to discuss with you some more about this. This is the stuff that we are going to spend time doing. For the next 12 months, we are going to do all the simulations, all the planning that we need to do, and ensure that we are ready to support a very, very peaceful electoral process in the country, so that we should never have the challenges we have had in the past. Why should it be that during every election year, we even have challenges in the economy because businesses are hurt and affected and so on? We are determined to make sure that this time around that does not happen. And I'm grateful to our Inspector General for the planning that he has shown us, the team that he has put together with the DIGs and the DCI. The work that has gone on is brilliant. I'm personally very satisfied and happy about it, and will continue to support you as you move along in the field. I thank you very much, and with these remarks, it's my distinct honor and pleasure to declare IG's conference officially open. So, Wangoi, may I now request that we have a closed door meeting?